Hello, welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we are gonna be continuing the narration and character voice acting for the Retracing Our Steps story. Alright then everybody, time for part 3 and to see how far we're gonna be getting in today's part. But before we do that, as always, to anybody who bumps into the voiceover through this very episode, in the description box of this very video you can find a full playlist for this story if you wanna or need to begin from the beginning, or if you wanna catch up with the previous two Kjerag stories first before heading into this story. Everything is down there, linked and ready to peruse, so enjoy and thank you very much. For everybody else, time to do the quick little recap of the previous part, and as always, if you want to skip that one, again, description box, chapter select, YouTube navigation bar, and you can be directly at the beginning of today's part. But anyway, so then, last time we started off with a meeting between Ratatos and the Victorian ambassador. From the meeting, it seems that Victoria is expressing interest to work directly with the Browntails. At House Silverash, Encia is reading a letter from her sister Enya. Encia is expressing that she wants also to help out somehow, and an opportunity comes along when a Vine Beat Court herald asks for documents to be delivered to a meeting of the three clans. Meanwhile, Arctos and Gulo, who are on the way to the meeting, get suddenly stopped by falling rocks, and Gulo gets injured. Encia didn't fare any better as her car ended up crashing into another and she barely got out of there. Enya, wanting to warm herself by a fire in a forest, gets also attacked, but luckily she is saved by a young huntress named Joanna. Joanna is part of Clan Paleroach, and while she treats Enya's wounds, she expresses her thoughts on the current situation and the Silver Ashes. Upon discovering that Enya is the Saintess, she panics a bit and keeps her distance for a while. Arctos, meanwhile, is accusing Ratatos and the Browntails to be behind these assassination attempts, as they were the only ones not hit by anything. Enciotis, suspecting something big happening in the shadows, sends Degenbrecher to check on Enya. Ratatos meets once more with the Victorian ambassador and suggests to get rid of Arctos at a specific Browntail house. Joanna opens up to Enya about what is troubling her at the moment, but the moment is broken by yet another attack. Joanna manages to kill all but one attacker who manages to get a jump on her. Lucky for Joanna though, Degenbrecher swoops in and takes him out. Together with Degenbrecher, they discover that the attackers were just masquerading as Paleroach soldiers to sow even more chaos that way. Arctos, meanwhile, is arriving to meet with Ratatos, but stops before reaching his destination, and with his soldiers finds and takes care of some Victorian spies. As he does so, the house where Ratatos is waiting for him blows up, and it seems Ratatos dies in the explosion. The next day, Joanna and Enya are arriving at the Vine Beat Court to check on some information, but discover that a funeral is being held. It's Ratatos' funeral, Sciurus is giving a speech at it, and is now officially the new matriarch of Clan Browntail. Enciotis, meanwhile, who wasn't at the funeral, gives Degenbrecher a letter to read from the Duke of Castor. Seems that the Duke is starting to put on more pressure on Enciotis. Hopping a bit back to RHINE Lab, Elena has a breakthrough and manages to restore the data that was altered. She discovers that an extraterrestrial object fell on Kjerag and speculates that it might have something to do with the catastrophe. Speaking of RHINE Lab, the missing Caroline seems to be doing fine. She's in hiding and has nursed an injured monk back to health, but is still keeping Monk as a prisoner. Elena, meanwhile, sneaks into the Hall of Writings to get a good geographical map of Kjerag and runs into Joanna and Enya. And we then ended the part with Sciurus going through some stuff from Ratatos and discovering that Ratatos was working with Enciotis behind the scenes. And that is pretty much where we ended up last time, so then, today we're gonna be continuing obviously from where we left off last time, from stage number 6 all the way to the first cutscene of stage number 8. Actually wanted to include the complete stage 8, but found the place where we're gonna be ending up with today's episode quite interesting for multiple reasons, and you'll see when we get there. But enough teasing, let's begin with our first stage, stage number 6. Titled Emerald. Patience is the hunter's virtue. It will help you find a gap, an opportunity, a beginning, and the dawn of friendship. How much longer? Patience, please, Mr. Bellingham. As you know, the Duke has been very busy lately, having to receive several guests each day. You should remember, sir, the last time I came here. So, I'd like to ask, how has she been lately? Fairly pleasant for the most part. After all, the negotiations with the Cazimirzians have been nearing completion over the past few days. As soon as he finishes speaking, a dejected gentleman strides past the Trilby Asher. The Trilby Asher recognizes him as Derek, head of the press office. Perhaps due to the recent wave of bad publicity, he wipes the sweat off his brow with trembling hands. I suspect today is not one such day. Is that Bellingham outside? Let him in first. Don't keep him waiting. The butler nods, and the Trilby Asher hesitates for a moment before stepping into the room. Seated in the middle is the Duke of Castor, with a young noble standing at her side. I have another question. What kind of person is this Cazimirzian representative you met? He is a merchant, Your Grace. Cazimirs. Tell him that should he agree to my terms, I am willing to lift some of the embargoes on industrial equipment. For them, there are many ways to obtain cheap minerals, and Kjerag is hardly irrepressible. I will let him know that only Victoria can satisfy his technological and equipment needs, especially when it comes to originium. No. You are a member of House Castor. These minutiae are best left for servants to convey, whereas we should always leave ourselves room to maneuver. The Cazimirzians know little about the resources we command, so why not let them exercise their imagination? Do you understand? No worries, I guarantee that he will side with us. Forever honor your commitments. If you cannot, don't make them in the first place. That is true of the Cazimirzian representative, and even more so for me. You may leave. Yes, my apologies, Your Grace. Once again, you have to see me disciplining these good-for-nothing whelps. Belly. I thank Your Grace for the trust you have placed in me. Let's not waste time on small talk. I trust you saw the gentleman who left earlier, yes? If I'm not mistaken, that was a certain Derek, the man in charge of news and public opinion. He should have reported to me that the negative press, be it about Kjerag or Victoria, was under control. He was instead quite profuse with his complaints, going on and on about how he couldn't do it, that it would take too long to communicate with the film crew, that he wanted to trouble me to watch the footage they sent back. If he feels like he hasn't been given enough time, he should have known that my patience has its limits too. So, do you have any good news for me, Belly? Yes, Your Grace. Our informant at the RHINE Observatory provided very accurate intel indeed. There is something highly suspicious about the mining site, in which Kjerag is working with Cazimirs. Following the clues she provided, my man successfully infiltrated the site and obtained these data tables. Just point out the highlights. Please look at this section, and the subsequent section on the next page. The former represents the mine's daily output, whereas the latter represents the purchase volume, or export volume. Finally, the last page is the mine's financial report. Pay particular attention to the net profitability figure. For example, in the last 2 months, the difference is massive. The mining site has been operating at a loss, and the greater the extraction, the greater the losses. Exactly. We even found this mine import record. Please, take a look. a large mining site needs to separately import the very same minerals? Therefore, I believe this confirms the earlier theory. This so-called joint mining project is actually Karlan Trade's arsenal in disguise. And this is the trump card that has been flipped over, sitting right there in a mining site shared jointly with a foreign company. Which is why our agents, including myself, initially overlooked this area. It is hard to imagine that anyone could stomach such a risk. Placing a piece in what normally would be a blind spot, it's very much his style. However, you're still one move behind Belly. As difficult as it is to admit, when Wellington made his move, it became imperative for us to strengthen ourselves. Given these circumstances, Kjerag is a valuable asset. I will not accept a lose-lose scenario. We must ensure that Enceodus' military preparations do not catch us flat-footed. Only by knowing what his trump card exactly is can we properly plan against Kjerag in advance. Your Grace, if you wish to confront the Duke of Wellington, bringing Kjerag under the control of House Caster, as well as seizing their manpower and resources, is of utmost priority. I personally believe that we should conduct a comprehensive survey of this mining site. I believe the Casimirians will accept your term, and it's only a matter of time until they withdraw from Kjerag. As soon as we take control of this mining area, I will send our envoys there immediately. Why not act before the paperwork is officially signed? We cannot give Karlan Trade the time to cover their tracks. So, under the buyer's name, look for another excuse through the Vinebeat court. Even if they suspect that something is amiss with the Casimirians, a hasty retreat would inevitably leave traces behind. The Vinebeat court is ultimately an expendable asset. Due to your previous botched job, there is no way Enceodus would not have his eye on them. Then we'll squeeze every last drop of value from the Vinebeat core before Enceodus makes his move. Is that truly the missing step, Belly? Be more economical and think it through some more. The current Great Elder has consistently turned down my goodwill, and given the inability to mobilize the full strength of the Vinebeat court, we must be more careful when accessing the feasibility of this plan. Yet, Your Grace, it did not stop us from infiltrating the lower and middle ranks either. Perhaps this is the Vinebeat court's persistent arrogance, ripe for us to take advantage. Perhaps the allure of overthrowing Enceodus will prove to be a gift too irresistible for Kjerag's religious figures. So, do you intend to? You are free to move the pawns inside the Vinebeat court as you please, but you must find out exactly what is going on within the mining site. Let us wait to see how Enceodus reacts. He might just give us another reason to get involved in Kjerag. Yes, Your Grace. Right, I'd like you to do me a favor. Derek left some odds and ends behind. Go ahead and take them with you. When it comes to our dealings with foreign nations, we always have some journalist friends who make too much noise. Can I set the camera up right here? Thank you. Let's get started if you're ready. Venerable Great Elder Atzo, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. I sincerely hope you are willing to answer a few of my questions, as well as those of the countless others who want to know more about Kjerag. First, I'd like to ask about something that many around Kjerag have been curious about recently. The people of Kjerag broadly believe that Kjerag protects this land. In your opinion, how would you explain this catastrophe? Does this mean that Kjerag has lost its divine protection? That is correct. Kjerag indeed watches over his land. However, she is not a tyrant who imposes harsh decrees, but rather a patient mentor and a guiding hand. Her protection of Kjerag is not as straightforward as many would imagine. Her knowledge of the true way of life runs deep, and so she taught the people of Kjerag how to live in this land filled with calamity and devoid of thought. Thus the people of Kjerag came to have a soul, and many calamities no longer disturbed them.
Even so, I'm still very curious as to how a god who neither reveals its true form nor has performed any miracles as proof of his divinity can earn a people's faith. This belief seems to lack any grounding in evidence.
Yes, from afar, I can see that you hide your arrogance behind polite words. You try to reduce Kjerag's beliefs into a most basic form of logic, which you then criticize in an attempt to extol your own correctness and wisdom.
Please believe me, that was not my intent.
It's fine, don't worry. Then, may I ask you a question first? In your opinion, what kind of principles do the Victorians, who observe no religion, follow in their lives?
That's a simple answer. Victoria has her own laws.
Who drafted these laws? And who granted them the authority to do so?
If you're asking about the legitimacy of the Victorian regime, we need only look back at history to answer that question. The land was originally occupied by Dracos until about 300 years ago, when Aslan from Sargon launched a rebellion in Victoria, ultimately seizing control of the country.
Then, I take it, in your view, might makes right? Aslans are strong, and therefore righteous. Dracos are weak, and therefore unjust. The so-called justice shifts just as easily as the balance of power in war. By the same logic, the devils of Khazla should feel no shame or remorse about invading the lands of other nations, their only sin being that they fell one step short of ultimate victory.
That is a patently absurd conclusion.
Of course. I doubt that any regime would hinge its legitimacy upon violence, because they know all too well that violence will inevitably be undone by greater violence. Nothing can remain young and mighty forever, neither people nor governments. Therefore, they must become compassionate, in hope that the same compassion will be afforded to them when they are weak. So, let us return to that question. Why do the legal principles we take for granted, or rather the virtues prevalent across the different civilizations sharing this land, exist in the first place? To where should we direct our questions? Do we possess the sublimity inherent to being human? Are our lives innately meaningful?
Apologies, but I am not well versed in these subjects of philosophical speculation. May I ask, what is the point of these questions that seem so far removed from our daily lives?
You mentioned life. In fact, as long as you seriously reflect upon your own life, you will very easily find that there is nobody on this great land who is entirely devoid of faith. People always choose to place their faith in something, be it money, violence, knowledge, fame, philanthropy, or pleasure. If a person genuinely believes that nothing is inherently true, then he will quickly find himself akin to a puppet with its strings cut, unable to move at all. The followers of Kjerag seek the eternal solace of the mind by questioning ourselves and seeking out the traces of her existence.
An interesting thought indeed. This seems quite different from the common perceptions floating around Kjerag.
Please tell me, what was your perception of Kjerag before you witnessed the human tragedy caused by Catastrophe? The last pure land on Terra? A sanctuary protected by the gods? A land of simple and kind, poor but happy people?
You're quite well versed in these touristy catchphrases.
It was your people who discovered and abused the power of Originium, which ruined everything. You know that countless people drowned beneath the waves you stirred. And it is this guilt that led you people to weave your illusions into the fantasy of Kjerag, a paradise where one can reap the benefits of Originium with none of the costs. You imagine purity because you know filth, innocence because you know deception, magnanimity because you know opportunism, piety because you know nihilism. How then can you see the farmers who've left their homeland behind, the craftsmen whose unfinished goods pile up like a mountain, and the hunters who return home empty-handed? You might even deny the existence of these people so that you may feel at ease when you swallow the blood and sweat of us savages to purify your souls.
As an investigative journalist, it is my responsibility to spread the truth, and I am hardly the only Victorian who cares about the truth regarding Kjerag.
Young lady, you promised to spread the truth about Kjerag across the lands, yet your lenses are pointed at those who are more lost, more deserving of pity. Do you think we should call this the truth, or simply a fable?
I must admit, your questions have left me chagrined, be it my colleagues or myself. It is hard to set down our morbid curiosity as onlookers.
All you need to know is that Kjerag's belongings are not playthings sitting behind the glass of a Victorian shop. Kjerag does not, and will not, need anyone's pity or charity. Kjerag will always be the people of Kjeragander, the home of the Kjerag people.
Alright, I think I'm convinced now. So, in your opinion, this catastrophe will not shake the people's faith in Kjeragander?
To be honest, Kjerag's faith is undergoing a serious test. I cannot deny that this catastrophe has sown the seeds of darkness in the hearts of the people, causing them to gradually turn to violence and selfishness, abandoning many of their former virtues. But was all of this due to a catastrophe? A seed cannot germinate without the proper soil. The current turmoil in Kjerag only proves that people's beliefs had already changed, long before the catastrophe itself. And the cause of all of this is Enciodas.
Are you referring to Mr. Enciodas Silverash, the chairman of Karlan Trade?
For thousands of years, Kjerag has been spared from catastrophe by our adherence to the order laid down by our god. However, the Vinebeat Court is not the rigidly conservative institution that outsiders think. Even in the era before power was restored to the three clans, records in the Vinebeat Court's Hall of Writings confirm that the court was involved in, and sometimes even instrumental to, the vast majority of changes across Kjerag's history. However, we simply remind ourselves constantly of the wisdom and virtues she taught to us, ensuring that each step we take does not become counterproductive. And this order formed through the Vinebeat Court has proven its reliability and stability over the long years. Yet, when you don your skis and snowboards and zoom down our snow-capped peaks, how often do you turn back to look at those who lack the condition and ability to keep up? No matter how much you might want to turn back and wait, the falling snow will obstruct your view until the exhilaration carried upon the wind engulfs your every thought.
You believe that Kjerag's current reforms are too radical?
Therefore, if anyone can be held responsible for the current state of Kjerag, it can only be Enciodas.
So, as an elder of the Vinebeat Court, are you planning to make any changes in response to this situation?
No. I won't lightly say that I'll be making any changes myself. I simply believe that, for thousands of years, the enemies of Kjeragander have all vanished into the snowdrifts of history.
The registration documents are all here. Please make sure this envelope makes its way to Mr. Edelweiss of Karlan Trade.
Don't worry, we were established by Karlan Trade and know Mr. Edelweiss very well.
There won't be any mistakes. Glad to hear it.
Elena turns her head somewhat nervously. After the catastrophe, the people of Kjerag have largely preferred to remain at home, with one exception, the market. Hundreds of people crowded together in residential areas, temples, stores, and street stalls, the sorrow on their faces matching the gloomy weather. At the far end of the market, Joanna is gesturing to her with her hands, her mouth open as if beckoning for her to come quickly.
Be right there! Gotta keep a low profile.
Elena lowers her head and turns her face away, hurrying away against the flow of pedestrians. Countless Kjerag people brush past her, while another RHINE lab employee squeezes into the crowd and follows the current.
Why should we choose the most crowded place?
People are forced to gather here in order to barter for necessities or to receive relief supplies. That they suppress their fear is a fact worn on their sleeves, many of them showing up in naught but simple, local attire. Carolyn instinctively pulls her coat in tighter, walking past the men and women until she stops at the entrance to a quiet little temple. She leans against the door frame, its paint worn and peeling, and hesitantly turns her head to look around, searching for someone else who also has an appointment.
Damn it, the bell already rang. All I wanted was to find a place to continue my research. Why am I stuck doing this kind of work?
She pounds the wall next to her angrily until suddenly a hoarse question reaches her ears. "Oh, lost lady, why do you treat the property of Kjerag in such a manner?"
I'm sorry. How should I make amends?
"There is no need for that. Set everything down and come with me. Should it be agreeable to you, please rest in the courtyard. I shall explain the profundity of the scriptures to you, so as to soothe your restless heart." The old man unlocks the temple gate, and Caroline pauses apprehensively to look around before stepping inside. The devotee then follows her in and shuts the gate again.
You're the one they mentioned, the one who can bring me out. Choosing to meet up here is incredibly risky, is it not?
People are undoubtedly going to be anxious in the aftermath of a catastrophe. Wandering around in sparsely populated open areas is only going to invite more suspicion. Let's get down to business. We don't have time to waste. Have you acquired all the intel?
I have, but it's not meant for you. The Duke of Caster's men promised that once they took over the mine, I would be able to leave Kjerag via the internal railway. I don't know what they told you, but now is the time for you to do your part.
The mine is currently in the handover period. Once the Victorians have finished their inspection, I will take you there to meet them. I ask for your patience, madam. It is a precious virtue indeed.
I hope this is the last time. Did you hear that? Hear what? Sounded a bit like thunder. How strange. Seemed to come from the mountains. And also... What's this? The tip of my nose feels all chilly. Huh? That's weird. Why is it snowing again? We're in the middle of the snowy season. What's so strange about that? No, that can't be it. Even at this time of year, there are always signs before it starts snowing.
The girl lifts her head, her expression suddenly turning serious.
It's snowing, but it doesn't smell like snow. It's very strange. An old man once said that the snow only loses its scent when something truly terrible is about to happen. Is Kjerag warning us again? Divine will is less important than how heavy the snowfall is going to be, and how it will threaten our safety. As for the scent of snow you mentioned, the air temperature and humidity change before it snows, which may give off the illusion of a peculiar scent. But to treat this as some way of gauging the weather, or even as a divination of some sort is, I frankly don't think it makes any sense. No. The scent of snow is the scent of snow, not some other smell. Kjerag has given hunters a keen sense of smell and eyes that can see in the dark. On the snowfields, we know much more than you do. Okay then, I don't mean to question your personal experience, but I still have to act according to my own experience.
As Alana speaks, she sets up the observation equipment and begins to carefully record the data. The girl pouts discontentedly, looking at the device with a distinctively old-fashioned Kjerag look.
That lump of metal of yours has been beeping this entire time, and it's heavy too. We would have gotten here way sooner without having to lug it around. But it's how we can make sure that every step we take is safe and secure. After our catastrophe, we must be extremely cautious inside the Originium zones.
A sudden gust of wind rises, causing Elena to stumble, but Joanna catches her from behind, just in the nick of time.
Thanks.
The chilly snowflake-laced wind sweeps over them, and all other noise ceases, save for the whistling wind and its sharp, biting cold.
How did the temperature drop so sharply all of a sudden? Is this? I know of a deserted village up ahead. Let's head over there and find a house to shelter in.
Enya, who has been lagging behind the group because she was flipping through her notebook, steps in between the two. She stretches her palms out, her fingertips only slightly reddened from the cold.
Come, take my hand. The fresh snow is too slippery, and the terrain here is steep as well. It would be terrible if someone slipped and fell here. You're both hesitating? Do you not want to hold my hands? Enya, I mean, Your Holiness, No, thank you.
One hand extends forward.
I'm just doing this for Her Holiness.
Joanna turns her head away, but nevertheless places her hand with Enya's.
Thankfully, the temple is in a much better state than the other buildings because there still are people who come by occasionally to do repairs.
The three shake off the thick snow from their cloaks. They arrive at the village only briefly before the snow starts to come down heavily, fluttering down like feathers.
You two, go ahead and rest. I'll see if the fireplace here can still be lit. You can usually find a small woodshed behind the village temple. I'll go take a look. Need my help? I'm good. You, didn't you say you were going to do the weather forecast? Just go do your thing. I've already set it up. The measuring device will automatically gather data from our surrounding area, so I can help you carry... I told you I'm good. Don't follow me.
Before Elena can even stand up, Joanna already manages to feel out the small door behind the temple statue with practiced ease. The layout of any Kjerag monastery is more or less the same. The girl rushes out back, and the door slams loudly behind her.
Did I do something to upset her? Maybe just a little, but not that much. Don't worry about it. Joanna is a kind girl. Even when she's grumpy, she still wants you to be warm. Just like not long ago, when she protected me from assassins, even though she despises me. However, for many of Kjerag's villagers, your thoughts and words can hurt them, even if they are without malice. I'm sorry, I was too rash. That's not your fault, nor is it the fault of Kjerag's people. If anything is at fault, perhaps it is simply your differences. Any sort of communication between people is about these differences. Even partners who work together in the lab, sharing the same ideas and goals, can still have disagreements. Which is why communication and understanding between people is so precious.
Enya folds her cloak and puts it aside, points to a snowflake on it that has not yet melted.
Oh, look at that! A snowflake? The people of Kjerag sometimes use snowflakes that have not melted upon stepping indoors as a form of divination. These unbroken branch-like snowflakes are a sign that our journey will be smooth. According to folklore, the snow is a messenger protected by Kjeragander, carrying important truths and omens. It can predict the harvest, the hunt, the craftsman's hammerfall, and even quarrels between friends and lovers. Some may say that this iconic tree-like hexagonal snowflake with well-defined branches is a sign of good fortune, but others just as easily see within it a broken connection, an omen of disaster. And so, regardless of what happens in the end, the fortune teller always has something to say. Worst case scenario, they always say the diviner you met was just bad. The movement of the stars had already revealed the truth long ago, and use that to defend their authority. You seem quite knowledgeable about divination, Helena. You could say I've had some run-ins with them due to family circumstances. In any case, most divination has nothing to do with revealing the truth. It's just a form of self-delusion and sophistry. A place where no people wish to go has no roads leading to it. If a problem does exist, there will be no solution created to resolve it. Fate is a fickle thing, just as your science should acknowledge that there are many things on this land that cannot be controlled or predicted. On this great land, we are but tiny people trying to grasp a glimmer of the prophetic and the true. Is this so different from the origins of scientific discovery? Knowledge is what makes people feel safe and allows them to face an unreasonably uncertain future. In a sense, coincidence, probability, and fate are all the same concept. Fate falls on many, just as this snowflake has fallen on my cloak. I get it. Even placebos can be an efficacious type of medicine. But I've also seen many things in modern Kjerag. In the past, I always tried to see such strong beliefs as a kind of cultural phenomena, a ritual, a projection, a form of comfort-seeking. But, what exactly are they to you people?
She asks the question in a soft, subdued voice. The wind outside the window has already subsided significantly. Kjerag Saintus looks up at the statue of Kjeragander on the altar. Beneath a slab of stone engraved with messy markings, several brightly colored figurines sit side by side. They were exhibition goods produced around the time of the Lake Zilbenehat's ceremony. By the looks of things, someone brought them to this village temple as an offering to the reclusive Kjeragander.
The clerics of the Vine-Beat Court often describe faith as walking into the darkness without a lamp, or leaping fearlessly into a silent ravine. Everyone always seems to yearn for her. Ascetics, devout believers, faithful followers of the commandments, countless people endure innumerable hardships just to reach her side. But for me,
She tries hard to recall, but the memories in her mind are now but struggling fragments, jumping around like frames from a movie, shrouded in a dark haze. A strong emotion surges once more within Enya's heart.
Trouble!
Joanna suddenly rushes in with a gasp, firewood in her arms, her cheeks flushed from running.
I just saw coming down the mountain lots of Victorian cars, heading for the mine. Victorians? That mine is a joint operation with Casimir's. What are they trying to do there? Have they already picked up our trail? Don't panic just yet. Regardless of what business they have with the mine, we have to hurry. Let's pack up our things and set out immediately. We need to be even more careful and discreet on the road ahead. Just a second, please. I need to pack up my instruments first Wait, how could this... What are you dawdling around for? Hurry and pack it up. Here, I'll help you. Wait, what is this? This, moderate catastrophe risk written here. Does it mean what I think it means? Catastrophe. Could there be another catastrophe brewing? You know, it's real hard getting an audience with you these days. Antiochus?
I'm truly sorry I was unable to attend the matriarch's funeral. Madam Sciurus, I'm deeply saddened by what has befallen the Browntail clan. Please let me know if there is anything Clan Silverash can do to help.
Thanks, Antiochus. But that's not what I came here to discuss.
Your visit this time, Madam Sciurus, must be to give me a chance to earn your trust.
Huh. My sister once told me that you're least trustworthy when you lower your head like this.
I wonder about your opinion of me then.
You don't have to beat around the bush. I don't like it. My sister used to scold me for being impulsive and for not always thinking things through before I speak or act. I wanted to prove to her that I didn't need to hide under her wing, that I could do something for Clan Browntail. But now, as new matriarch of the clan, there is no one left for me to prove anything to.
I understand how you feel. I also have two younger sisters.
And you think they're both smarter than me, huh? Both Encia and the Saintess.
You think too little of yourself, Madam Sciurus. However, I do think they share your persistence and determination.
Is Encia okay? I heard she was in an accident.
Thank you for your concern. She is safe and sound, and has already returned home.
You always keep that calm and composed demeanor. What I want to know is, these attacks on Kjerag, including what happened to my sister, did you know about them ahead of time?
So this is the real reason you decided to visit me today.
Antiochus, my sister had been helping you this entire time. Isn't that right? I wasn't totally in the dark about it, but it wasn't until her passing that I learned. Your plans for Victoria, RHINE Lab, and what Monk has been investigating. There's too much I don't know anything about. Don't try to deny it. Don't lie to me, Antiochus. You have to know the truth behind her murder.
If you truly believe I had a hand in the matriarch's death...
No, that's not what I mean. I don't know what Ratatos was plotting with you, but I know for sure that whatever it was to protect Kjerag. So, I will follow in her footsteps. Whatever Clan Browntail's affairs may be, I will take responsibility for them. Which is why I need you to tell me exactly what happened to her.
My apologies, Sir Antiochus, but they were determined to break in no matter what. To what do I owe the honor for you all to barge into my home like this? Sir Antiochus, why did Carlantrade transfer all its shares in the Kjerag Casimir's joint mining operation to Victoria without authorization? Where did this news come from? It is an observable fact. The mines have completely been taken over by the Victorians. Great Elder Atza believes that such actions by Carlantrade constitute illegal collusion with a foreign power, and as such the Winebeat Court has no choice but to exercise its authority to intervene. We require that you report to the Winebeat Court immediately to explain yourself. If I understand this correctly, the Winebeat Court means to formally interrogate Clan Silverash. The people of Kjerag are uneasy enough as it is. The last thing we want is to see this conflict escalate further. However, Silenciotes, as the head of the clan, if you still believe you bear responsibility for Kjerag, please go to the Vinebead court with us to discuss the next steps.
Very well. I have no reason to refuse. However, if I am to explain the situation, I will need some time to prepare the relevant documents. Please allow me that. Furthermore, I still have some things to discuss with Madame Sciurus, so I would like to ask for your patience.
Of course, Silenciotes.
Madame Sciurus, thank you for taking the time to look at Florencia. I would like to formally invite you to be a guest of Clan Silverash. I would also like to thank you for your concern in person. Valencia is present as well.
What?
It would have been more courteous to have sent the invitation to you in a formal capacity. But given the hasty nature of this matter, the best I can do is throw something together by hand. I do hope you'll forgive me. We look forward to you gracing us with your presence.
Before his invitee can respond, Enciotis picks up a pen and paper from the table, scribbles down a few lines, then hands the invitation over. Sciurus takes it. There is only an address on the piece of paper, hardly an invitation at all.
Thank you for the invitation. I'll be there on time. To Mr. Edelweiss of Carlan Trade. I hope this letter finds you well. At the time you are reading this, I am yet to receive SITREP authorization from RHINE Lab, so please take note. This letter does not, in any capacity, serve as an agreement or treaty between RHINE Lab and Carlan Trade. Rather, it only represents my personal analysis of the recent phenomena in Kjerag. My specimen comes from the sound waves collected by the observation station at 3:19 a.m. on December 7th, year 1101. I can say for certain that at that time an unidentified object fell from the sky onto Mount Carlan. Though the chain of evidence definitely linking the phenomena is still missing, a catastrophe did in fact occur 32 hours later. I do not intend to establish a causal link between these two things. If this crash is a singular event in history, then so too is the catastrophe. What I am preparing to do is to confirm whether or not there is an empirical connection between these two events. Additionally, do forgive my frankness, but if the hypothesis that these two events are linked does bear out, the outcome for Kjerag is not optimistic. Whatever factor that has protected Kjerag from catastrophes over the millennia may no longer be effective, or at least be in an unusable state. I would of course love to write this off as a mere conjecture, but nevertheless, I also hope that Carlan Trade will be adequately mindful of the potential risks moving forward. Caroline, an insider with more detailed information, has likely made similar inferences, but I am in the dark as to what her objectives are at this moment. I will strive to complete this research while maintaining an objective and rational perspective, and would greatly appreciate Carlan Trade's support in my efforts. Respectfully, Elena Urbica.
Come in.
I was just looking for you, Director.
Take these letters over to Enciotis. Classified top secret.
Yes, sir. Right away.
Any other news?
Yes, the observation post previously dispatched to the mining site has sent back our sighting report. A convoy bearing Victorian markings is approaching the outskirts of the mine, but the specific origins are unknown. Matahon led his clansmen there ahead of time. He said that he would try to stall for as much time as possible and await your judgment.
The Victorians would have come sooner or later. Looks like we won't have to wait any longer. Prepare vehicles as soon as possible. Matahon may not be able to hold them off for long. Tell him to let the other party make the first move, and prioritize observation. I will arrive shortly. I'm warning you, don't get in our way, if you know what's good for you. I'm simply following orders. The area ahead is a restricted warehouse and nobody is allowed to enter without Carl Trey's permission. Has no one informed you that House Castor has acquired all of Casimir's rights to this site? To the best of my knowledge, the handover process is still underway. We were only notified by Casimir's yesterday. Which is why we have to inspect all the assets in advance. If you have any complaints, you can take them up with Her Grace, the Duke. Now, listen to your batters and open the warehouse door post-haste. Finally, someone worth talking to. Mr. Gnosis Edelweiss of Carlan Trade. It seems the introduction I prepared will go to waste, good sir. Of course. Naturally, you also understand who I'm representing here. Due to your mismanagement and the resultant substantial financial losses, Her Grace the Duke has decided to dismiss some key employees of Carlan Trade employed at this site, including the former executive manager. To this, I have no objection. I will cooperate fully during this handover process. Excellent. Now then, Mr. Edelweiss, please open the warehouse door. However, on this point alone, I cannot comply. What Matterhorn said is true. There indeed are regulations pertaining to this confidential warehouse. I humbly ask for yours and Her Grace's understanding. Based on the information I have, the security clearance level on this warehouse was raised just recently. What do you say to this, Mr. Edelweiss? Allow me to explain. This warehouse is mainly used to store various kinds of industrial waste, but recently, the purification system and negative pressure ventilation system both malfunctioned. We temporarily raised the security clearance level and strictly restricted access in the interim before professionals can handle the situation. I fully understand Her Grace's concern about the assets acquired, but for your safety, could I ask that this inspection be postponed? I accept the risks at hand. Just open the door. All else aside, this is Kjerag's mine. Should pollutants leak or any other dangerous situations arise, Kjerag does not rule out the right to intervene through administrative measures. Before you offer to take responsibility, I suggest you contact Her Grace the Duke once more. Good to see you again, Mr. Matterhorn. Pardon me, Father. I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to wait at reception for now. I currently have business with our diplomatic guest. Mr. Edelweiss, I was expressly invited here by the Victorians. Since when is the Wine Beat Court so concerned with temporal affairs? Today, both the clan leadership and the general public are dissatisfied with the way Carlan Trade has been engaging with Victoria. The Great Elder has summoned Sir Anciotas to an inquiry into the matter. Perhaps you will also need to report to the Wine Beat Court soon. Why then would a cleric feel a need to accept an invitation to come here before that? I wish to ensure a smooth handover process, and hope that Carlan Trade is willing to cooperate to the fullest extent. Please open the warehouse door, Mr. Edelweiss. Given that power has been restored by the three clans, perhaps the Wine Beat Court would be more representative of Kjerag's administrative measures. Matterhorn, open the door. The door slowly opens, and the Victorian ambassador is caught unaware by the dust that diffuses from within. He squints and fans the air in front of him with his hand. There is neither the smell of industrial waste nor the texture of originium dust. The ambassador's eyes gradually adjust to the vast, unobstructed warehouse within, which is nothing but scrap metal. As I stated, there is nothing here but industrial waste. Please leave as soon as you've finished your inspection. Staying here for an extended period of time would be detrimental to your health. Everyone stay put. I'm conducting the inspection myself. As soon as he enters the warehouse, he feels the vast space around him dilating in all directions. The steel frame stretching straight to the ceiling, surrounded by scrap metal of all shapes and sizes. There's no way such a large warehouse was set up just to store these things. It's far too pretentious. He approaches the bottom of one of these shelves and reaches out to rummage through it with no particular aim in mind. The clanging of metal echoes through the warehouse. Wait, this is... it's still half intact, and I can still make out the insignia of Silverash's private army, the tsit. Were these originally weapons and gear not improperly disposed of and being thrown in the shredder? An idea bubbles up, and he keeps looking elsewhere. Though Carlon Trade has been quite meticulous, a few clues are bound to leak through. Of this, he is certain. Replicas of Victoria's newest equipment, as well as large-caliber naval gun parts. All failures, unable to break through the technical barrier. The army designations, the insignias, many other terms in the Kjeragi language. He quietly memorizes them all.
Sir, are you done yet?
Yes, I am. The ambassador returns to the group. I've more or less seen what I needed to see, Mr. Edelweiss. I will summarize the entire situation and faithfully report it to the Duke. Sir, the internal railway in the mining site has just been cleared, and you haven't had time to inspect it yet. Does Victoria also need to use that internal railway? Yes, we've contacted a number of suppliers for quotes. Using the internal railway can significantly reduce transportation costs. Father, is the Vinebeat court aware of this? If you are so keen to get involved in diplomatic affairs, Carlon Trade hopes that you will also be willing to verify any business entities that wish to join. Gnosis's concern interrupts the thoughts of the Vinebeat court envoy, who then looks away from the railway. That would require the Great Elder's input. I understand. By Kjerag, I ask that the Vinebeat court not make things difficult for Enciodas. I will remain at Carlon Trade's headquarters, awaiting your summons. By Kjerag. Alright, before I say anything, we have one new enemy here on this stage. The Great Horn Rule. Burn beasts with massive horns on their heads. Their unique name comes from Kjeragander's blessing. It is said that someone once witnessed her mumbling to this creature, "Rule, rule." Since then, Rule has become its new name. Alright, that's lore, I guess. But yeah, interesting stage. Stuff is definitely moving along and plots are being schemed. And Trilby Asher is back! I can't be the only one who is always excited when this specific Asher appears. Honestly, I wish, considering they keep bringing him back and he has a unique name, I wish, like really wish, they would actually give him like a slight redesign where you could very easily tell that it's that's a different person, right? Like, I don't know, a face reveal or something for the guy, just so you can actually know that's him on first glance, cause if another Trilby Asher appears in the scene, you're just gonna get confused. For me, it gets even more confusing because I have to voice these idiots. But yeah, anyway, I'm happy that he's back. He's always kind of like a fun, chaos, neutral kind of character to witness what the hell is happening. I mean, considering what the hell he went through in Lake Zilba the Hatsa. The guy is the guy can be a menace,
but he can also be comedy pure. He has a very weird charm to him. I don't know how to put it. But anyway, he's back. At least for now. But yeah, lots of stuff happening. The Victorians are definitely pushing more and more in now, as you guys have seen in the last part there, where the ambassador literally went into the mine to expect it and found nothing. He found nothing. Again, they're putting pressure on Ensiotis, and Ensiotis is like, ha ha ha, I have thought 10 steps ahead. Jesus Christ. Ensiotis is a terrifying opponent, like really terrifying. And yeah, it does make sense that Ensiotis is definitely like the only counter to Ensiotis is literally the Doctor. The Doctor is literally the only one who can kind of outsmart him, which is telling a lot, quite honestly. But yeah, lots of stuff are moving around. We saw what the letter was as well that Elena sent to Gnosis as well. So they are now informed about things as well that were happening with the object that fell on the mountain. Carolyn, on the other hand, seems to be trying to sneak out of the country now with the help of the Vinebead court, and yeah, well, she's running away. But what happened to Monk is the question. Well, we're gonna have to keep on going with the story to see what the shit is happening there. But as a also side note, I do like the little group. Again, I do like the little group of our three girls between Joanna, Enya, and Elena. I do find the three of them adorable. I don't think I'm gonna be the only one who finds these three, the interactions between the three of them very adorable. How they are, their ambitions, beliefs, and everything. How they're just jiving with each other. It's kind of funny to follow along. Also, that little scene of Enya just wanting to hold hands with the other two as they walk through the store. It's very adorable, and I do like that the two of them kind of stop in place and are like, how do I react to this? It's very funny. It's very funny, kinda. I mean, again, Enya is technically like the head of the nation in a sense, so you know. They're kinda reserved in reacting to, huh? How do we go about this? But yeah, anyway, with that out of the way, we move on to stage number 7, titled Incense and Shadows. A secret in a haze, a stick of incense burned down to ash, a rumbling roar, 2 lovers, 3 children.
You finally come, Ensiotis. Naturally, I would not dare refuse an invitation from the Vinebead court, Great Elder Otso. If I remember correctly, it shouldn't take very long to get from the Silver Ash domain to the Vinebead court. To be summoned to the Vinebead court is a matter of great importance. As I stand accused of improper dealings with Victoria, I had to make ample preparations to prove my innocence. Without further ado, Sir Ensiotis, please come inside so that we may discuss this further. One moment, please. A large convoy of vehicles pulls up to the center of the Vinebead court. Silver Ash? What is the meaning of this? Are you not investigating the ties between Carlan Trade and Victoria? I had someone compile all the documents related to the last decade of business dealings between Carlan Trade and Victoria. It is quite the voluminous collection, so much so that we had to fill several trucks. Great Elder Otso, if it interests you, please take your time to read through it. Good. Very good. Unload everything. Then tell your people to leave. I'm afraid I can't do that. What is the meaning of this, Ensiones? It is true that as of late, Kjerag has had to weather great turmoil. Undoubtedly, Victoria has been at the heart of many of these incidents. Indeed, our troops have discovered evidence of contact between the Winebeat Court and Victorian spies. Empty accusations! Without proof, what right do you have to investigate the Winebeat Court? Investigate? I would never dream of such a thing. However, the Winebeat Court has accused me of colluding with Victoria, and so I am here. By my command, nobody is to leave the Winebeat Court today until Great Elder Atsu and I reach a conclusion. Yes, sir! Now then, Great Elder Atsu. We've never talked like this before. I have hardly ever seen you on my past few visits to the Winebeat Court, let alone spoken with you. I've heard from many clerics that you spent years in seclusion, studying the scriptures in the Hall of Writings, and never concerning yourself with temporal affairs. It seems you've also come to handle the affairs of the Winebeat Court with ease. The only thing I've done over the years is ensure that Kjerag follows the path she ordained. Moreover, we stand at a critical juncture concerning our survival. Should the Winebeat Court stand by and watch you drag Kjerag into the abyss, allowing Casimir's Victoria or any other foreign power to devour us? You are not the king of Kjerag, Silenciones. Thank you for the admonition, Great Elder. If Kjerag were to have a king, it could only be her. If there are diplomatic errors the Winebeat Court wishes to correct, then Garland Trade will do her best to cooperate. However, there is one question that puzzles me, for which I seek your guidance. How exactly is the Winebeat Court negotiating with Victoria? Is it using all of Kjerag as a bargaining chip? Elder!
We just took a look around. Silverash's troops have already blocked the way down the mountain. We'll go check the back door and...
The secret passage? I wouldn't bother with that unless you're keen on searching for Chigete. Don't be alarmed. By Kjerag, I have no intention of attacking the Winebeat Court. Tell everyone outside to rest where they are. No one is to move without my order. Ensiones, you accuse the Winebeat Court of betraying Kjerag to Victoria. Where is the evidence for your claim? Please be patient, Great Elder. It will take some time for the evidence to be delivered here. In other words, you came empty-handed, yet still chose to resort to violence against us. You should know what the price is for doing this, head of the Silver Ash clan. Look down at the people beneath the mountain. Yearly troops might be able to block off the Winebeat Court, but you cannot fight all of Kjerag. I am willing to give you time, but if you cannot produce conclusive evidence before sundown, I'm afraid that the reputation of Garland Trade, and even that of the entire Silver Ash name, will be in tatters. You will become untouchables throughout the land of Kjerag. Indeed, I am, of course, well aware of the consequences of my actions. What I do not know, however, is what it would mean for Kjerag if the Winebeat Court is found to be colluding with an enemy that assassinated leaders from the 3 clans and was caught in the act of espionage. I will be with you to witness that moment, Elder. I know exactly what you're waiting for. But time is not on your side, Silenciones.
Let us in! We were invited by the YMB Court to participate in the blessing ceremony, and Silverash's goons have no right to stop us! Throughout her illustrious career, the Black Knight was unshakable, even by the most fearsome opponents. But now, looking down at the teeming crowds crammed into the narrow mountain road, she feels utterly helpless for the first time. Why haven't you seen a single cleric here? What is Silverash trying to pull?
Please calm down, everyone. The YMB Court has encountered some extenuating circumstances, and Sir Anciotus is assisting with the investigation.
We came here on an invitation, and you're telling us that there's an extenuating circumstances now that we're here? Cut the crap! A man squeezes through the crowd, but as soon as he takes a step forward, he is met with Degenbrecher's cold glare and has no choice but to retreat, muttering under his breath.
Sir Anciotus will issue an explanation to the public after things have settled down. Please, I ask that you all return home for now. Ma'am, be careful.
I'm fine, Degenbrecher. I can stand on my own. We all trust you. We know that you're a daughter of Kjerag and would never bring us harm. So, can you tell this old woman exactly what is happening with the YMB Court? What do you know about this whole thing?
A vehicle winds its way along the mountain road. Outside a window, dense dark clouds are gathering, mingling. The window rolls down and a few snowflakes laced with unidentified impurities slide into the car before disappearing without a trace. The signal's a little better now. According to our informant, Victoria and the people from the YMB Court have left the mining site and have not made any further moves. But given this weather, we can expect more heavy snow. It'll take a lot longer to get back to headquarters than expected. Compared to that, this little hiccup can hardly be considered beyond our expectations. Are you referring to those Victorians from earlier? They got the intel they wanted, but so did we. I mean the Winebeat Court. The Winebeat Court, huh? The fact that they'd show up here instead of calming the populace is rather strange indeed. It's evident that they were completely unprepared for the situation, and their deliberate attempts to hide their schemes are easily seen through. If some of them are willing to play cover-up for the Victorians, then it's only a matter of time until the mask comes off. It's nearly time. Turn back to the mining site. Are you trying to... The exit ways there are now open, making it a good place to leave the country. As you just heard, Anciotus has already surrounded the Winebeat Court with his men. He has deliberately made a big show of things to alert the enemy. Those hiding in Kjerag will definitely be itching to seize the moment. Our undercover agent friend we've been tracking seems to have a particular fondness for this kind of stuff, and should be arriving in the vicinity soon. Moreover, I suspect she's not the only one either. Instead of looking for her, we should just let her come to us. Gather everyone together and keep a close eye on the entrance of the mining site. Pay extra attention to the people who helped her escape. While you were on your way, the clergy throughout the city were already inviting people to come up the mountain for the ceremony. I wonder how long Degenbrecher can hold them back. Did the Winebeat Court stoop to these desperate measures, knowing I would not point my weapons at the people? It's true that I'm using them, just as you did to Arknights and Ratatos during the Holy Hunt a few years ago. Perhaps I overestimated you, Sir Anciotus. Even if you're hungry for power, you should be less obvious about it. Before you commit a grave error, I'm willing to announce to the public that you've come to the Winebeat Court to capture the Victorian assassin.
If you truly thought highly of me in any capacity, you would not think that I am only seeking power. All I care about is the future of the land of Kjerag. So, a violent coup is the best path forward? Yes, because our Victorian friend sits in a position that cannot be reached except through violence. What you say is true, Sir Etsiodas. The unarmed Vinebeat court, driven to despair by the descendants of Victorians and their acolytes, helpless to defend themselves even when thieves cry thief in front of them. Behavior determines identity better than blood. It is a fact that since the attack on Nancia, people from the Vinebeat court have been falling over themselves to back Victoria. If you are so confident you know what I'm waiting for, the cleric and the Victorian spy caught red-handed together, be it for the general public or the three clans, the rest speaks for itself. I know no more about the conduct of these clerics than you do. Even if the Duke of Castor were to come here herself, she would only tell you that I firmly rejected her offer. That is nothing more than an excuse. A failure to control your subordinates means you are equally responsible for them, and the same applies to Carlan trade. What you suggest is that the clergy of the Vinebeat court indulged in pleasure and colluded with foreigners, while I remain oblivious and allow them to sell out Kjerag? You and Victoria share many of the same delusions. In reality, the Vinebeat court has only ever wanted to use this as a pretext to expel Victoria and their true ally, Etsiodas Silverash. However, the reality is that they ended up aligning with Victoria in practice. All the clergy who associate with Victoria has sworn an oath of death after you are expelled. Their bones will nourish Kjerag's future, and they will leave no regrets behind. So, what you propose is that Kjerag should purge itself, down to those who hunt Victorian spies to this day, those who the Duke of Castor considers enemies. And that is the only way to defeat Victoria. There is nobody around. A sudden gust of wind suddenly howls through the unfamiliar courtyard. Carolyn continues to stir around her piping hot cup of savory milk tea, the spoon continuing to clink against the cup. She shudders in anticipation, either due to the drink or her impending evacuation. She stares at the swirling tea and strokes the cup, completely ignorant to the fact that the cup is engraved with Kjerag's mountain ridges. Her thoughts are interrupted by a knock on the door.
Who is it? Stay back!
Sorry to keep you waiting, young lady of Victoria.
It's you.
Please pardon my intrusion, but due to the situation changing, you will be transferred to a new destination, ahead of schedule.
What? What happened?
I only know the gist of the Vinebeat court's decision.
A gist isn't good enough. We need to have a concrete plan of action or else...
I will take full responsibility for the operation until you have safely left Kjerag's borders. All you need to do is follow the instructions. As for how to leave and who will help you, don't overly concern yourself about such things. Kjerag witnesses all, and she shall walk with us.
Stop trying to fool me with your vague and nondescript dogma.
By Kjerag.
In other words, I've become your responsibility now, right?
I am but a follower of her will.
Fine. You have your beliefs and I have mine. But since we'll be working together, let me remind you that if this operation fails, your side will also be exposed.
That's right.
Does that not worry you at all?
cleric simply smiles gently and takes a garment out from his bag. No, young lady. All I need is faith. You can also place your faith in us. As long as we are of one heart, we can overcome our fear.
Cleric of the Vine Beat Court. I don't think we need to discuss this any further. Instead, let's focus on something useful, like when we leave.
My apologies, young lady. This is a cleric's robe that I sewed myself. Please, put it on for now. This journey will take you past many people and countless eyes. If you encounter someone who comes up to you seeking prayer or answers, do not try to please them. Stay silent and avoid them. I will walk with you, no matter what dangers we may face.
Color me curious. Why do people pray to your god for protection even after a catastrophe?
Just in case. Believe me, young lady, you know too little about Kjerag. Now please, pack your belongings. I will wait for you outside.
The door opens and a dry cold wind rushes in, lashing at the cleric's neck and face. An old dagger slips from his bag, and he nonchalantly bends down to pick it up. He knows exactly what this amulet, forged for him by his father, who has returned to Kjerag, will eventually be used for.
By Kjerag, may this devout body be blessed, and may I spread your holy will. They brought excellent seeds to Kjerag as well as machinery. The Vine Beat Court has never denied these contributions. To be frank, I've never seen anyone so complicated in my already withering life. Hero.
This does nothing to dispel my doubts. Compared to these acts, the Vine Beat Court seems only to recognize friend and foe based on where they come from.
Then allow me to ask you a question first, Sir Inciones. In your heart of hearts, what exactly is Kjerag?
I have already answered this through my actions.
Victorian-style buildings, Victorian-style weapons, Victorian mandated laws. Is this your answer?
Unless we choose to seclude ourselves deeper within the mountains, shunning both external disturbances and any further advancement. Otherwise, you might even be able to see things from Laterano or Lithanian one day.
Until one day, the people of Kjerag believe in nothing but originium and money, unless faith itself can be sold. Once the shell of Kjerag is ripped open, the people shall no longer hold any reverence for eternity. They will only chase after their own values and desires. They will hate the strong because, in this new theater, the more one abandons his morality, the stronger he becomes. They will hate the weak because the weak will come to occupy the crevices of pity and charity. Nihilism will become the most popular ideology. The people's hearts will become empty and detached, and they will take pride in this emptiness. Your ideals are slaughtering the people of Kjerag, turning Victoria's present into our future.
The Kjerag that the Vine Beat Court worships is far more fragile than the one I worship. If all it takes to overthrow our sacred beliefs are a few foreign tools, then how has Mount Carlan stood to this day?
How could it be that foreign tools can cover our mountains and rivers, yet foreign ideas can never be touched?
If this is what you believe, then you must also admit that what can conquer the body can also conquer the soul. Born into a dark and hopeless era, you must race faster than the clouds to avoid being swallowed by darkness. Faith should not drive people to become accustomed to the darkness, but rather unwaveringly affirm the yearning for light.
Yet the more pious one is, the more destitute he becomes. In due time, he will see piety as a noose and begin to hate the history of faith itself. Which is why those who adhere to the teachings of Kjerag were ridiculed as pedantic and ignorant. Without turning on the tap, there is no clean drinking water. Without applying chemical fertilizers, there is no fertile farmland. You level the mountains and forests to build your factories, then send the displaced back to the ruins of their homes to either sell their labor or die. The lives you improve for some are fed by the happiness you've stolen from others. Oh, eloquent Grandmaster, I ask you, how should we deal with the stragglers left in your wake? You are right. It is a heavy responsibility that I must accept. However, the Winebeard Court only fantasizes about incremental change, while continuing to regard doing nothing as a virtue. Such people have no right to judge me. I have never sought to block Kjerag's progress. My only responsibility is to pull the reins on self-important tourists before things spiral out of control. You're moving too quickly, Silenciones. The way to format the Kjerag, the way to punctuate prayer passages, widgets to raise during rituals, are debates that can last for centuries. Elder of Clan Browntail, you have both the talent and the platform, and yet you only yearn for the solace of the other shore. Yet when you hide away in the hall of writings and philosophize from your armchair, do you know anything about where Kjerag is actually headed? What I know is that Kjerag would never let an apostate take the helm, and I have never been one to philosophize from my armchair. You are not the first apostate I've dealt with. What memories come to mind when you hear the names Olafur and Elizabeth Silverash? What?
This bloody weather again. Damn it. Is there a traffic jam in a place like this? Hey, you in the back. The road's about to get real bumpy. If you want to be able to stand after getting out of the truck, I'd recommend taking a nap now and conserving your energy.
Inside the rear compartment, the lights flicker as the truck sways. The passengers trying to escape sit upright on their haystacks, eyes tightly shut.
Shit! What's the thing in front of me? Whoa!
An oil slick spills across the middle of the road, and in front of the stopped truck is a line of fully armed men. The engine emits a strange strained noise, and the windows are splattered with paint. Inside the driver's seat, the Victorian tightly grips the steering wheel. I've never tried to hide where I come from, even though it's something that others have long forgotten. Luca Browntail, Ratatos and Skirus's grandfather, my cousin. In order to achieve the same goal, we accepted different fates, to safeguard Kjerag's order through the Three Clan Council and the Winebeard Court. Though known for his ruthlessness, he still harbored fantasies about the Silver Ashes until the very end. He said, a peaceful resolution is never impossible, as long as the couple are willing to make concessions. But I have never lived in fantasy. That train accident. Is that what you believe? Or did Ratatos make you believe it? How many clergymen and devotees do you think are out there among the commoners? If the masses wish for Kjerag to punish the apostate, then I, serving the Winebeard Court, shall deliver on those wishes. Silenciones! The man who killed your parents is right in front of you! Those who commit murder will be punished twice over by Kjerag. This crippled body has lost any meaning for me long ago. I grant you permission to dispose of me as you wish for reasons private and public, not for treason, but for murder, Arrest me here and put me on trial! Let the people of Kjerag see just how sinful it is to kill an apostate!
The old man wobbles to his feet, his withered fingers clenching into fists as if using all his strength. Suddenly, he stretches his arms out before Ensiodas. Like a sinner waiting to have his confession heard, his cloudy eyes shine with a glimmer of light, as if seeking to quench decades of old grudges with another's anger. Ensiodas slowly closes his eyes, his fingertips wrapping tightly around his cane. If you're trying to provoke me into acting out of line, I'm afraid your efforts are in vain. I won't lay a finger on you here. All I can do is ensure that you receive a fair trial.
Hurry it up! You in the back, keep up! Our intel indicates that the target should be around here. Search carefully and leave no stone unturned.
After that woman left the room, an unknown amount of time passed, to the point that time itself seemed alien to Monk. Only the stinging pain of the rope slightly binding her reminds her that she has not yet lost consciousness. Finally, a hopeful sound comes from beyond the door, and Monk musters what might she has left to shout.
I'm over here.
But try as she might, her parched throat can hardly produce a sound. She laboriously crawls towards the door. It opens.
Monk!
Madam, why are you here?
We've been searching for you ever since the catastrophe hit. That damn Silver Ash pretentious bastard. Thought they actually had some useful intel. But in the end, I still ended up having to do all the legwork myself to find you. How are you doing? You hurt anywhere? Wait, you're like...
I'm fine. Madam, listen to me. The researcher I'm tracking, she's from Victoria. But more important, she's got ties to Colombia. What they're really after is...
Monk! Monk!
Along the narrow mountain path, the convoy slowly plods onward. After the incident's sudden outbreak, no shortage of people left their cars to observe the conflict's epicenter. Turn off the engine. Get out.
What do you think you're doing? Who the hell are you people? I'm an industrial investigator dispatched from Victoria. This is illegal obstruction of official business. You've damaged our property, endangered Victorian lives, and almost even caused an accident. Mark my words, the Vine Beat Court will hear of this. Never should have come to this bloody shithole.
Are you done? Did you get all the pictures?
Yes, sir.
This is no time for you to try to twist the narrative, Victorian. Just cooperate. Open the rear compartment. Unwilling to cooperate? Fine by me. You're more than welcome to conserve your energy to fend for yourself before the court. If you're cold, I can offer you a blanket. Matterhorn waves his hand. The guard pries open the rear compartment without a word. Seated upright upon a haystack there is an old cleric. He brushes the dust off his body and walks out. It is an emotionless affair, hardly amounting to courage. The old cleric gazes upon the blinding brightness before him and recollects these scenes from before. Some 10 minutes ago.
Why the truck stop? Have we arrived?
Carolyn lowers her voice.
Did something happen?
Stay calm, young lady.
Did they find us?
I didn't expect to find you here, Cleric of Divine Beat Court. Let's continue this conversation elsewhere. This place is less than ideal.
You are as hasty as always, young master of Clan Edelweiss. Honorable friends of Clan Silverash, I apologize for disturbing your work during this inclement weather. I am more than glad to go along with your arrangements.
Looks like the one we're after isn't here.
I do believe this is very part ways, young lady from Victoria.
Are you getting off?
No, I'll stay here. Just keep walking forward, and don't look back. The entrance isn't far off. Silver Ash's people will surely notice this truck. Get out of here before they find you. By Kjerag, trust me.
The old cleric helps Carolyn up.
I'll do as you said. But you'll also be exposed.
That too is Kjeragander's will. What I cannot change, I shall therefore accept. I ask only her forgiveness.
I can't say I understand what your beliefs truly are, but maybe someday I will. I respect your beliefs, so I will also try to find a way to live in peace. Best of luck to you, sir.
Carolyn gets out of the truck and runs without stopping, in a direction leading far, far from Kjerag. Shedding her stained cleric's robes, she shivers from the cold. Alone she walks through the vast, pale mountainscape, until in the distance a dark tunnel entrance beckons to her. Through the telescope's lens, Dozy sees the mysterious scientist step into the shadows. Arrest these two and have them sent straight to the Divine Beat Court.
I've brought one.
I'm afraid I cannot grant you your wish, Great Elder.
Upon hearing the long-awaited voice, Encioda stands up and walks past the old man, who remains frozen like a wooden sculpture.
Gnosis executed the plan. Did you get it deployed immediately on his signal?
Before the presence of these wraiths, the clerics could do nothing but stumble back into their abodes, their tender faces affixed in fear. I'm one of the Divine Beat Court's clerics. You can't treat me like this!
Shut up and stop resisting!
Master Frey's here too! Please help me! The one just brought in was the once arrogant envoy of the Divine Beat Court. His gaze sweeps over the shouting cleric, and he shakes his head.
Father Frey, I believe I can now explain your actions. Victoria's agents conspired with the Divine Beat Court's clerics to smuggle spies out of the country through the mine railway, what were caught red-handed thanks to Carlon trade. And before that, you were assisting the Victorians with scouring the mining site. Premeditated ill intent. At least you forget, you protected the suspect following Ratatos' funeral. You will formally be put on trial for these crimes. By Kjerag, forgive him, for he knows not of what he speaks. It is a fact that spies have infiltrated the Divine Beat Court, I urge you to not resist. Cooperation with our investigation is the only path to leniency. Take Elder Great Atso, Father Frey, and the other elders of the Vinebeat Court away for questioning. The other clerics are to remain there, awaiting their summons.
Yes, sir.
Now then, Great Elder Atso.
Silver Ash, do you think you've won? Those who live by the blade will find their arrogance short-lived. I wonder just how long will your arbitrary reign of terror last?
Without making any unnecessary movements, Atso gives a slight nod to the crowd, then slowly walks to the door.
Great Elder, what should we do?
Survive. The rest is already written in the scriptures. I have nothing else to say. You are her servants, and whatever happens, you must act according to your conscience.
Take him away. By Kjerag, may the guilty receive their fair trial.
This is an abandoned mining shaft. The torches and tunnel lights don't work anymore. Bend down carefully and watch your head. If we wrap around from this side, we should just be able to make it... Ah! Watch out! Come over first. Watch your step.
Joanna shifts her feet, and several rocks tumble down the cave, the sounds of dislodged pebbles echoing through the cracked crevices as they fall. She shudders.
So deep. You'd probably turn into a stain on the ground if you fell from this height. Damn those Victorians for causing trouble in the mines. Else we wouldn't have to come this way. Huh? Saintess? What are you looking at? There's a light ahead. It must be the path leading to the main ore vein. Come, let's hold hands, just like before. We are just a few steps shy of our answer. We mustn't run into danger here. Soon, we will find all our answers.
The map is illuminated by the flickering light of the oil lamp. They hardly converse, moving forward in silence, their steps filled with both fear and anticipation. But eventually, the search comes to an end.
Are you sure this is the right place? Might we have made a mistake? No, I'm sure of it. This is the mine I previously calculated and located. There's no way this could be the wrong place. But, what are you two talking about? This is the place we were looking for, yeah? According to my plan, we should be able to find an originium vein here. My deduction can be proven correct if and only if it exists. But this place is an Oriron mine. What? I've investigated and analyzed everything. These are all just ordinary Oriron deposits. There's no chance they're related to Catastrophe, let alone any traces of extraterrestrial objects. Where did we go wrong? But why? We clearly saw a bunch of trucks transporting Originium on our way here. How could this all just be Oriron?
It doesn't take long for Enya to grasp these schemes of the man bonded to her by blood.
Indeed, we came to the wrong place. The mineral vein here is not the heart of Karlan, but rather the bones of Kjerag. The bones that uphold Kjerag's spine. May I say something? The heart of Karlan is a pure core that validates faith. Man's eyes, ears, mouth, nose, and hands can deceive, and only the heart cannot. Such is written in the Kjeragander. But I don't think we've been unfaithful or impious. We all know how much we've done, and surely she must know too. Just like how you give everything on the hunt, only to come up empty-handed and go hungry through the night. But we must have faith. Faith in the land of Kjerag, faith in Kjeragander's protection. She promised us that as long as we have our two hands, we shall not starve or freeze to death in Kjerag's lands. So, great Santas, come, let's try again. Huh? Try, what? Use your bell to call Kjeragander. That sweet bell, the sound of these saints who play to awaken Kjeragander, the clear sound beloved to her, the sound that is her call. So it says in the Kjeragander that burn beasts wearing this bell will not be snatched away by wild beasts, they shall not fall ill or die young, and they shall find their way back home should they ever be lost. For one's heart to be astray is to be lost too, right? I don't totally get what it means, but I heard it from one of the clerics at the Vinebear Court.
Unlike her two dejected companions, the girl shows no signs of discouragement and is eager to try again.
That's right. We should keep trying. Perhaps Kjeragander will respond to us.
The silver bell rings out on high, its engraved patterns shimmering beneath the hazy light of the miner's lamps. She had tried to call out like this before, at the Winebeat Court, in her own bedroom, among her books, while resting among the snow-capped mountains. Ring, ring. The clear, cold sound of the silver bell echoes through the empty cave.
Whoa, that's a... This sound, this frequency, why does it sound so alike? Did you discover something? The frequency, the echoes of your bell throughout the cave sound just like that one audio recording from the observatory. Almost identical even. Is that just a coincidence? A coincidence? No. In nature, no two snowflakes are exactly alike. Say, Saintus, where exactly did that bell come from? That would require going back to very ancient legends. In Kjerag history, there was a long span of time where Kjeragander fell into deep slumber until she was awoken by a devout saintess. It was Kjeragander's gift to that saintess. I've also heard that when subsequent craftsmen made bells for these saintesses, they sought to imitate the sounds of the mountains. These sounds of the mountains? What kind of mountain could make a sound? A Fairelmut? Impossible. How could it be? Snap out of it, Elena. You're a scientist. How could you let your faith falter at a time like this? Elena, are you saying that on the day before the catastrophe, something fell onto Mount Karlan, thus creating that sound? Based on my previous conjectures, yes. So think about it this way. If we think of the mountain as a huge bell, doesn't that mean there's probably a huge hollow inside it? Theoretically speaking, that would be possible, but do you know where a massive hollow like that could exist? There is a rumor not recorded in Kjerag's official history, and it also happens to be related to the saintess who awakened Kjeragander. A long, long time ago, there once was an uprising against the Winebeat Court in Kjerag. The people had grown dissatisfied because Kjeragander had not performed any miracles in a long time, and so they marched upon the Winebeat Court. Their wrath was only quelled when the saintess awakened the sleeping deity. During the chaos, a number of clerics took their precious scriptures and took refuge within Mount Karlan, therefore preserving some of their valuable knowledge. Yet regardless, the classic works of the Winebeat Court still suffered a break in continuity around that time. What if the account of Kjeragander leaving her people within the scriptures is actually at the description of this event? Great scientist, if this sanctuary truly exists, will we find traces of the Kjerag there? Where should we even look? Behind the Vine Beat Court, the place leading to Mount Carland's summit.
Anya tightly grips the silver bell in her hand. She seems to hear the wind and the snow, as well as the footsteps that would occasionally shadow her while she worked at the Vine Beat Court. Whose voice was that? Who was calling to her from behind? Who would pat her on the shoulder and bring her honeyed tsit milk to her while she was burning the midnight oil to organize her scriptures? All she can hear and see is the pure white snow that never stops blowing with the wind.
O Kjerag on high, please grant us your guidance. May the path we walk be true.
A cleric from the Vine Beat Court, in collusion with Victorian agents, stole important military intelligence and was arrested yesterday. Great Elder Otso confessed to some of these allegations and agreed to fully cooperate with the investigation. During this time, all activities of the Vine Beat Court are to be suspended. There is considerable evidence suggesting that Victorian agents are involved in a string of unusual, natural, and social phenomena. Carland Trade is also assembling scientific researchers to assess the possibility of an espionage-related catastrophe. As a reminder to all citizens of Kjerag, if any foreign nation approaches you under the guise of offering charity, business ventures, or gathering news, please be extremely vigilant.
I knew it! The Great Elder and that Victorian Duke are in cahoots. Look what those bastards have brought upon us!
Couldn't it just be one big misunderstanding? If even the Vine Beat Court has betrayed Kjerag, my goodness.
They've been mucking about with the Victorians, and you still give them the benefit of the doubt?
But hasn't the Carland Trade you seem to trust so much been dealing with Victoria this whole time?
The only reason you can even hear all this on the radio is thanks to Carland Trade. But what about the Vine Beat Court? What have they ever done for you?
Stop your bickering. Victorian Broadcasting has a response. Shut up and listen.
I don't give a damn what they have to say.
I need to make sense of all this. Sir Wilson, you are highly respected by Her Grace the Duke, as well as an expert on the Kjerag affair. We would like to ask you, how should we interpret the attitude displayed by NCO the Silver Ash?
I see it as nothing more than a way of quelling the public discontent in Kjerag. Enciotis has always been a close partner of Victoria.
Don't you find that somewhat difficult to believe?
Even based on publicly available information, it is an indisputable fact that Victoria has been the primary beneficiary of many of the trade contracts strongly spearheaded by Enciotis himself. With the help of Carland Trade, Kjerag's development has almost entirely come off the back of Victoria's aid, from the import of breeding beasts and fertilizers to railway technology and even Norwegian processing. In return, Enciotis has committed to handing over more than 40% of Kjerag's natural resources for Victoria's development. Not long ago, Carland Trade also handed over a mining site that was being worked by Casimirs to the Duke of Castor.
Then it seems that Enciotis is trying to maintain an attitude of ambiguity. That being the case, are you not worried that his attitude to soothe the public will anger the Duke?
Lest you forget, Enciotis is the Duke's grandnephew, and the blood of Castor flows in his veins. The delicate understanding between him and the Duke is, without a doubt, difficult for outsiders to grasp. What you may not know is that even while he issued a statement, he also submitted a new mining agreement to the Duke, who has already signed and returned it. Expect a joint announcement on this matter in short time. I have obtained the key points of this agreement. I would like to share them with you here. Do take a look at these graphs, good sir.
Carland Trade is willing to entrust 100% of future mining rights to a foundation established jointly with the Duke of Castor.
This truly is just the tip of the iceberg. Look at what comes next.
Nonsense!
The young reporter is startled by the volume of her outburst. She instinctively reaches to pat her bulging backpack before turning around. Seeing the empty street makes her let out a heavy sigh.
Looks like they won't be able to catch up to me. Camera, recorder, film prints. Everything's here. This time I won't let them take these away.
She then looks at the statue of Kjerag in the distance, pulls down the brim of her hat, and walks toward the city's center. So, this is a big stage with, or rather for many reasons, but before we get to that, first off, one new enemy. Snowcap. Large umbrella-shaped mushrooms. They accumulate nutrients from spring through autumn, then grow rapidly in winter, reaching nearly a meter tall in 2 weeks. A favorite ingredient in Kjerag cheese fondue. Yum? Okay. So, big stage. A lot of things happen here. First off, very interesting stuff about the bell from Enya, and the backstory on that one. That thing might actually be made from potentially something that is directly related or a part of, like the original bell at least, a part of, that was a part of Kjerag, which would make a lot of sense, quite honestly. But we'll see as the story progresses how that is gonna turn out and if that's the case. But very interesting, very interesting, especially because, or rather, just to clarify, the extraterrestrial object that hit somewhere here in Kjerag in the mountains. What they were saying there is not the object itself making the specific frequency when it hit, but the mountains themselves producing that sound when they were hit. Pretty much as talked about that in the scenes about a probably potentially some hollow area that when it was impacted it produced a sound like a giant bell. Very interesting, very interesting. I wonder if we're gonna see anything from there, but we'll have to keep on going. And yeah, the other big thing about this whole stage, not only that more and more chaos is being sewed around, as now Ensiodas has to literally arrest parts of the vine beat court because of them colluding with the Victorians. On the other hand, the Victorians are at the Duke of Castor pronouncing a very strong partnership with Karlan trade, which again, more chaos. But more importantly, the new vine beat court elder, aka Atso, who is, surprise a browntail, and is directly related, obviously because browntail directly related to Ratatosis and Scutus's grandfather, which great. But yeah, he just straight up killed the parents of the Silver Ashes. What a dick! What an absolute dick! Holy shit! What the hell is that reveal? By the way, I do like how even Ensiodas, say whatever you want about Ensiodas, how much he thinks ahead and researches and finds stuff out and is always prepared and yada 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 yada. I'm just happy to see him, despite the fact that this information is mind-breaking for him. I'm just happy to see him once being flabbergasted about a piece of information. This caught him really off guard. I mean, it caught me off guard. I didn't expect to hear someone proclaim, yeah, I caused the train accident that killed your parents, kind of thing. Holy shit, that almost came out of left field. Like, holy shit. Brother, what the fuck? But yeah, quite a lot of stuff on this stage, and it's just probably gonna get crazier from here on onwards. However, before we go to the other stage, I do wanna voice a little thing very quickly first. And I hope I'm not the only one with this opinion, but I want to say one thing. We have not had a single unique picture, a single unique CG since stage 2. Since OS-2. All the way until stage 7, and it was only the one picture here with Atsu being taken away. Stages 3, 4, the cutscene for stage ST2, 5, and 6. None of them. There were so many opportunities, especially the funeral, where I mean, I'm getting it already. The CGs are gonna be at the end. I get it. Every story has a lot of them at the end. But I do again. This is my pet peeve with this game, I guess. At this point, what is happening here? Why? Why is the story? Why is the story like a hamburger but without the stuff in the middle? I feel like I ordered a hamburger and I got the bun. I got another bun, and attached to one of the two buns is a piece of lettuce and cheese, but the rest in the middle is missing. Where is the meat? Where is the rest? What is happening? The rest is apparently in the middle, will be served as a second course, I guess. But yeah, I don't know what is with this story. There were so many opportunities throughout all of these stages in between, all the way to stage 7, to play so many individual little CGs for what was happening and stuff like that. What is the distribution order here? Why did everything have to be at the end? This game, look, we had a recent event where we had a perfect distribution of stuff. Perfect distribution of stuff. Every stage had a CG for a big moment. And funnily enough, it was the collab for Ave Mujica for some reason. Everything else in this game is like, big moment? I'm not gonna give you anything. I'm gonna go feral. I'm gonna go really feral. Look, sorry, this is a personal pet peeve with this game sometimes, but this story is really driving up the wall with it's a good story. It's really good so far. I'm really being engaged. But where are the pictures? I swear every single picture now is gonna be like literally on the last 2 stages and the outro cutscene, and it's gonna be like 10 of them, and that's gonna be it. I don't really know. They really need to distribute these more and just commission more of these pictures, or I don't know if they're making them all internally or not, but they really need to distribute them more and commission more of these. Like, holy shit. You can't have such a good story and then nothing in the middle. Like, holy shit, please. Please. Just for immersion's sake, it would help so much. But anyway, my pet peeve aside, let's continue with stage number 8. Proclamation. What people believe depends on what they see and hear. Thus, the art of deception is born. The empty silence leaves one feeling colder than ever. The reporter's heavy bag slows her down, her footsteps upon the snow clear for all to hear.
Less people than before, even here. Miss, sorry to bother you. Can I ask you a few quick questions? About? Right now, Carl and Trade... I'd rather not have to hear that name. Silencio just needs to come out and go over why he signed those agreements already. Resources for development. What rubbish. All we got for our resources was a catastrophe. How's he going to explain that, huh?
By the time the reporter finishes digesting the lady's angry words, she has already long since left with a swish of her cloak.
Excuse me, sir.
You're one of those reporters from Victoria? Kjerag's not been the kindest place lately. Even us locals prefer holding up at home. You best take care.
It's times like these where I can't be afraid. Otherwise, I'm not fit to hold this camera. But thanks for the heads up anyhow. What I'd like to know is, how do you see Enceotis right now, in your honest opinion?
Sorry, miss, I think he's cheated Kjerag, but Victoria's worth doubting too. I've seen how big the changes here have been the past few years. If you said Enceotis hasn't had any difficulty making those changes, then I'd say you're wrong. If only the Great Elder or the court could come out and say a few words, it'll all be fine.
A stone flies right past the tip of the reporter's nose all of a sudden, smashing the store window behind her.
Get out of Kjerag, Victorian scum! Enceotis divine beat court us. We've all got nothing to do with you. Still got the stones to take pictures? Get the file off our land already!
Nothing has left her with complicated feelings more than this moment. She has seen the ordinary people of Kjerag slowly become more mistrustful, more on edge. Yet she has also seen once trusted members of the camera crew sneak into her room to inspect her drafts and camera over and over. As the man picks up yet another stone, she bows goodbye to her interviewee and runs away from the scene. It seems her only choice is to escape. But escape to where?
Are you Victorian, miss? Oh, hello there. Do you hate Victoria? Nope, I don't.
A dirty little hand reaches out to her with a piece of stale Victorian bread sitting in the palm.
But my papa told me to throw these all away. He said we wouldn't have any Victorian charity in our house. Then, but Kjeragander taught us to love our neighbors and repay kindness with kindness. So I wanted to give it back to you.
As she watches the child hurry away, the reporter feels as if the dry bread in her hand is choking her throat. Her eyelids tremble, and she clenches her teeth. Get her in the car. Don't let anyone see. That is the last thing she remembers hearing before she loses consciousness. Sorry for bothering you with yet another visit, Mr. Silverash. Perhaps you would rather be seeing some other pretty face during all this hubbub. There is no need to be so humble. Kjerag is indebted to you for your care, and I hope for the chance to express my gratitude. Hardly. It seems my long-awaited return has left me awash with churning emotion once more. I would like nothing more than to be the bearer of good news every time I come over, before throwing my old bones into the mountains for some peace and quiet. But life is a fickle thing, and it demands we improvise, does it not? I do believe you are here to give me some bad news, Lord Viscount, but not in the name of Castor. Huh, I'd rather not get mixed up with that old lady's affairs again. No, based on what went on the last time I was here, it's her who doesn't want to get mixed up with me. With all that said, my lord. Ah, yes, on to business. I know you're a busy man. I am here to bid you farewell, Mr. Silverash. If the recent shift in public opinion against Victoria has troubled you, then I can... No, nothing of the sort. I had hoped against hope that old Castor was also reaching the age where she spoke from the heart. That tends to bring a bit of sweetness to the tongue, no? But as you can see, things have come to this. Though I may seem a dotard these days, I still find myself compelled to ask you one thing. Is there truly no other way? You know her plans involve more than just a few minds, my lord.
From the moment she laid hands on Ansia, this negotiation has become wholly unacceptable to me. So how do you plan to handle her? Are you really prepared to cross swords with her? You know better than I that if we do not keep the idea of crossing swords on the table, then Kjerag may as well already be in her pocket. Of course I do. What to say, what to say. Knowing how the old lady is, she will never let your little tiff go now that it's reached this stage. I truly am worried for you, Sir Ansiotis. Whatever shall you do next? What is there to do but to seize the opportunity? Since you have mentioned her, you're also an old acquaintance of her grace, are you not? Me? I hardly know her. A few years back, we chat about family matters, and she'd always grumble to me about how none of the young casters were worth a damn. The less useful they turn out to be, the more hasty she gets in doing things. Who would have guessed that she was known as a complete enigma in her youth? I had a brief encounter with her grace a decade or so ago. Her grandeur strikes me even now. No need to butter her up to me. I am fully aware that her high and mighty noble posturing is something she can never change. No matter how many schemes are brewing behind the scenes, one must always keep one's face haughty and dignified. Well, that's that. I'm sure your people have more urgent things to trouble you with. I should be heading off right about now. This talk of ours has been productive, my lord. I hope I will have a more suitable opportunity in the future to invite you to Kjerag. Couldn't ask for better. Ah, yes, when you next see her grace, by no means tell her I've been calling her old behind her back. I would never, Lord Viscount. Atta boy. I too am really looking forward to the chance to visit Kjerag again. Yes, nobody saw us. It was no trouble, matriarch. Your request is my... I'll bring her over right away.
Hey, wakey wakey. I was at...
Half a day's sleep not enough for you. Get up. Our matriarch has things she wants to ask you.
What? Who brought me here? Huh. How long will it take you to learn a gentle touch?
I'm sorry. Matriarch.
Hey, you awake yet? Not rushing about, unless you feel like the ropes around your wrists aren't chafing enough. Ratatos! Matriarch Ratatos, I thought you were... Not a single burn on me. Real surprising, isn't it? When you get the chance, tell your colleagues that when dealing with the Browntails, best check the room for tricks. My, colleagues? Be honest now, my little spy. What were you hoping to capture on that camera of yours all those days you were sneaking about? Wait, what? No, you misunderstand me, madam. How could I be a spy? That's what all the other spies we got set to.
The guards rifle through the reporter's bag and throw its contents onto the floor. The photos she has taken and developed the past few days.
We wouldn't care much about you if you take pictures of local traditions or even patrolling guards. But you didn't hesitate before taking a bunch of pictures of the Vine Bead Court. You even went to a few mountains clicking that shutter of yours. Don't think I don't know anything. Matriarch Ratatos, whether you believe me or not, I really am nothing more than a regular reporter. If I was a spy, why would I be walking around with all this evidence on me? With all this chaos going on right now, I could have easily given it all to my colleagues at the TV station.
That's what you need to explain. Fact of the matter is, you were carrying a great deal of suspicious material and had a very strange itinerary. How do I know you weren't trying to flee?
Because I'm trying to protect that material. The Duke of Castor wants control over public opinion. The news office sent people to join the camera crew, and they've been sneaking into my room to edit my pictures. If I didn't try to get away, most of them would be confiscated, maybe even used to misrepresent things here. Everything they do is to whitewash Victoria trying to strong-arm its way into Kjerag. If you think these pictures will be of any use to Kjerag, you can have them all. I just want you to release them, to let more people know what's going on here. It doesn't need Victoria's support, but real, actual help.
That might be tricky. Is Enciotis able to take a call right now?
He has more pressing matters to handle, so he sent me as support.
After my lovely funeral, I handed the spies we captured over to him. According to our agreement, he was supposed to send backup. And in the end, he only sent one woman, even if she is the Black Knight. Not sure if I should call him generous or stingy here. So, what's his plan for dealing with Castor?
We're still gathering information on our enemy. I was also sent here to help with your interrogations. The most critical thing to find out now is if this reporter has taken any photos of things in the mountains.
Ah, yes, our little friend here. I can untie your restraints, but first, you need to promise me you'll answer all my questions. That sound alright to you?
Ratatos lives! Of course she lives. Look, I said this early. Writing 101. If you do not show me a body or give me a credible source who can vouch and I can believe this character when they say person has actually died, I've seen body, then I'll believe you. But if there's no body and it's a story of a shit ton of deceptions and stuff in the shadows, yeah, you're not convincing me. You might convince characters in the story, but you're not convincing me, you bitch. But yeah, Ratatos is alive, and I think we've all been aware of that. I actually wonder how many people did actually believe that she died when the house blew up. How many of you actually believe that she died there? Because it happened off screen, and she's not a small character, despite probably being kind of tiny. She's a squirrel after all. Anyway, that's beside the point. Ratatos lives. I'm happy. And I think everybody else as well. But yeah, more stuff is happening, and I do like one thing as well that they've even hammered more here into our heads with the Victorian reporter chick that they introduced. Which, by the way, we still don't know her name. She's still named just Victorian reporter. Very interesting. I wonder if they're gonna drop her name later down the line. And considering this game and references, if it's gonna be a reference to an actual person, I wouldn't put it past the game. But yeah, I do like the fact that she did turn out to be just a actual bona fide reporter who just wanted to actually properly report on the truth and what is happening. Like, pretty much doing the thing that is a reporter's duty, right? Not bullshitting around, just straight up telling it as is. And I like that about her. I do want to see a bit more about her, and I wonder if she's gonna be appearing in future stories and stuff like that, because interesting character, and definitely very detailedly designed as well on top of everything. So I guess we shall see. But yeah, Ratatos is back, and we shall continue this next time and see how the story ends, because we are definitely approaching, I mean, we're going to be definitely in the finale in the next episode, and we'll see how it ends. and what happens, and what Enya and what that trio in general will discover, because they are definitely approaching some big mystery in the mountains as well. And it's gonna probably be very revealing and interesting, whatever it is. I am looking forward to it. But that will be for next time. For now, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did so, please consider leaving a like, it will help out a lot. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And if you want to support me more directly, memberships are open on the channel. Like I always say, no video will be behind a membership, it's purely there for support. So thank you very much to all the members already doing so, much appreciated. And I hope you all have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Enjoy the clip section, and bye-bye. Oh, hey. Hey, Trilby. Now, are you a random one? Or are you the one we know? Wow, it's been a while. It's been a while since I saw Trilby Asher. Alright, bud. Patience, please, Mr. Bellingham. Okay, it is. Bellingham, the moment they name him. Okay, it is the same. It's the good old guy. Okay, been a while. Oh, the Victorian reporter. No, judging by how the current conversation went with the Duke, is this Victorian reporter just a thorn in her eye, or is she maybe an asset? Let's see. Oh wow, she's in the wine beat court interviewing the elder. Okay, that's wild. Oh, she's here. Okay, so Carolyn is gonna be following Elena, huh? Is she gonna follow her constantly or not? Because she still needs to go back to look after Monk, who is injured. Oh, never mind. I think she is meeting with someone else here. Maybe her contacts from Victoria?
Come, take my hand. The fresh snow is too slippery, and the terrain here is steep as well. It would be terrible if someone slipped and fell here. You're both hesitating. Do you not want to hold my hands?
Oh. And yeah, I don't think you are aware how people are nervous around you, because, you know, you're basically the head of a country. Imagine if the president of your nation would come to you, next to you, snowstorm on out, and be like, hey, you want to hold hands? So we don't slip and fall. You'd be like, oh, what the fuck? Or not just the president, just like a superstar or someone that starstrucks you, right? That is next to you. You would be freaking nervous.
One moment, please.
Oh shit! He brought his own army. Yeah, the wine beat court is definitely. I mean, I would say it's kind of obvious at this point, but yeah, the Vine Big Horde is definitely like, the Elder seems to have really pushed Enya into going to this pilgrimage, because when she's away, as stated, the Vine Beat Court can have pretty much full authority of what is happening, and say pretty much whatever they want, because people are gonna believe that it's whatever they're saying is kind of the same thing as if the priestess would be saying it, because they are unanimously agreeing on stuff, like over 90% of the time. So who will question it, right? So yeah, the elder is definitely scheming shit. But the question is the elder himself in leagues with the Victorians, or is it just people who work at the Vine Beat Court? Because right now we definitely already know that it's a couple of people who are working with within the Vine Beat Court that are spies for Victoria. But yeah, is the elder in leagues with them, or is the elder just a random person who is trying to achieve his own goal in this whole matter? And the goal would probably be to, I guess, to Guess to get as much control as possible and get all the foreign matter out of Kjerag, maybe? Maybe, we'll see. Gather everyone together and keep a close eye on the entrance to the mining site. Pay extra attention to the people who helped her escape. Okay. I wonder who he is talking about. How did he say it again? How did he say it again? Our undercover agent friend, huh? Undercover agent. Would Aratatos be an undercover agent? Maybe? Maybe. Or Carolyn be a double agent? Where she actually works for for Carlon Trade, was recruited by them, maybe? Maybe? I don't know who else. Unless it's someone we do know but has not appeared yet in this chapter yet. In this chapter, in this side story yet. Someone we know from before. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder. Unless he's talking about the reporter? That is kind of like a new element to the roster and everything, and she has not been named yet. While she's also, because she's a reporter, she can also go around and just collect intel without anybody being really suspicious of her as well. Huh. Well, those are the three in my head right now, I guess.
You are not the first apostate I've dealt with. What memories come to mind when you hear the name Olafur and Elizabeth Silverash?
Okay. Parents. Yeah, the Silverash parents. One of them.
What?
Okay, he's kind of caught off guard all of a sudden. Where's this going? Oh god, come on, don't end the scene right now! these dicks.
Sir Enciones! The man who killed your...
Oh. Is he trying to make himself a martyr right now? Is he trying to provoke him so much that Enciones fucking kills him on the spot? Holy shit, he just straight up came out with it. Damn. Holy crap. Wow, so yeah, the accident that killed the Enciones parents is, or rather was never a accident. It's something this fucker orchestrated. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay. Okay. That's big. My god.
She laboriously crawls towards the door. It opens.
Holy shit, Sciurus! Damn! Wow! Holy hell!
Seated upright upon a haystack, there is an old cleric.
Oh, was this guy trying to smuggle out the cleric and the scientist chick? Maybe? Yep, it is the two of them. Okay. Yeah, they were trying to smuggle him out. Oh my god, it's been forever. What is with this? What is with this story so far? The first 3 notes had at least a couple of pictures, and we are now on what, stage 7, and this is the first, yeah, this is the first unique, outside of new backgrounds of course, but I'm not really counting those. But this is the first unique CG since like what, stage 2 or 3? Oh, sorry, stage 1 or 2? Like, Jesus Christ, what is the what is the distribution of pictures in this story? I know that usually they pack a lot of the impactful ones at the end of the story, which is normal and makes absolute sense, but this is a huge freaking hole between stage 2 and now stage 7, with nothing in between. What the fuck? Also serves you right, you old bastard. Oh shit, something's reacting.
The sounds of the mountains. What kind of mountain could make a sound?
A Farenmoot? Oh, that would be kind of crazy if the bell... if the bell is made out of the actual, like, quote-unquote bones of the Farenmoot Kjeragander. Wow. That would be kind of absolutely insane if that's the case. Huh. Well, I've been I've been thinking this for a while now, but the way they're forming, or rather framing the current situation with Enya here forgetting about Kjar, that reminds me of how the Sui were always described as the Sui siblings specifically. If the Sui awakens, they will disappear, and all knowledge of them and anything they made by their own hand or infuse it with their own powers will also essentially disappear. And here we have a story where Enya seems to have partially forgotten about Kjar, but kind of remembers her in a phantom memory kind of way, more so than anything else. But is struggling. Like every sentence, every time they're describing Enya trying to remember Kjar, it's like phantom memories here, shadow there, feeling this and that. Like it never really falls on Kjar specifically, outside of narration text actually mentioning her. There was a couple of moments where she was like having like flashback memories to her, but after that one part where she went super hazy for some reason, after that it started to be like, what am I trying to remember? Who is this friend I'm thinking of? Was there a friend? It's very interesting. I wonder if the proxy Kjar actually disappeared, so this is causing this memory problem with her. Very interesting.
But Kjeragander taught us to love our neighbors and repay kindness with kindness. So I wanted to give it back to you.
Aww. The kids are better adults than the adults. Childish innocence. Yeah. This poor woman as well did literally nothing wrong. She's literally just here to do interviews and to show the world how stuff is in I almost said Victoria, in Kjerag, and yeah, she has to suffer under whatever the shit is happening right now as well. And she clenches her teeth. Oh, did she just get whacked? Oh, she just got whacked. Oh, get her in the car, don't let anyone see. What the fuck? What the fuck, is she getting kidnapped in broad daylight? What the shit? This is the last thing she remembers hearing before she loses consciousness. What the fuck just happened?
From the moment she laid hands on Encia, this negotiation has become wholly unacceptable to me.
Oh shit. Oh, that sent chills down my spine. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, this is the one thing that doesn't really, probably for people in general, doesn't really come over unless you know the character himself. But yeah, he's a family man. If something is happening to his family, I mean, he does see himself as the family head, pretty much since the parents passed away and everything. So yeah, if something happens to either one of his sisters, oh, it's a holy war. This guy's on a crusade right now. Whatever he's scheming, oh god, whatever he's scheming in the background is gonna be absolutely nasty for Castor. She pissed him off royally. And also from the conversation right now, I really hope I really hope Harold this time around is actually in some way, shape, or form actually helping out the people of Kjerag, because again, during the whole Zilbenehatta thing, he did not really want any of that to happen. He was enjoying his time in Kjerag, and he was enjoying the people and everything. But again, military man and under orders, you can't really say anything to that. and disobey orders, especially when you have family back home in Victoria and shit. But I really hope these two are plotting something big against Caster. That would be absolutely amazing. Yes, nobody saw us. It was no trouble, matriarch. Your request is I'll bring her over right away. Oh, also matriarch. Oh, is it the Browntails that yoinked her? But why? To save her? Did I have to knock her the shit out? Give her a concussion? Okay. Our matriarch has things she wants to ask you.
What? Who brought me here?
How long will it take for you to learn a gentle touch? I'm sorry. Matriarch. Oh. Hey! Okay, that's matriarch. Okay, this is Rathatos' play. Okay then. Yeah, alive. Of course she's alive. Of course she's alive. Like I said. If you don't give me either the corpse, like directly say there is a corpse in the story, or you have a credible source that identified a body and literally tells you, yeah, person died, I can vouch. Person is not dead. This is literally writing 101. This is literally writing 101.
That's what all the other spies we got set to.
The guards. I think she's a legitimate reporter. I think she's just a legitimate reporter here. Unless I'm gonna get proven completely wrong right in a second.
Everything they do is to whitewash Victoria trying to strong-arm its way into Kjerag.
Yeah, she's a legitimate reporter. she's a legitimate reporter after that outburst. Okay, respect.
Is Incense able to take a call right now?
Of course she's yeah, that's why they were talking about earlier as well. Again, that's why he didn't appear at the funeral, because there was literally nothing. I mean, there was probably another agenda behind him not appearing at the funeral, because again, he's trying to rattle people around with stuff that he does. But also, again, he was talking with Degenbrecher about something that Rathatos was doing. The initial plan of luring out the Victorians and everything. So yeah, pretty much everything was planned by the two of them. Nice.
After my lovely funeral, I handed these spies we captured over to him. According to our agreement, he was supposed to send backup. And in the end, he only sent one woman, even if she is the Black Knight.
That's all you need. Rathatos, that's literally all you need.